It turns out the people who work at Uber, whose job it is to investigate threats of violence, threats of harassment, and overall general complaints, are overworked, exhausted, and, well, getting very, very sick on the job. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and we have talked a lot about how should we put it, ineffective Uber's customer service is when it comes to serious threats. We have heard stories from people who were actually assaulted while they drove, or they were harassed, or inappropriate things were said about them. There was inappropriate touching. It has happened to me. It has probably happened to you. And when you've sent a complaint to Uber, chances are you were not particularly happy with the response, if in fact you got a response at all. Uber definitely gives off the impression that they do not care, and you know what? I believe from the top down, they don't care. But a new story has emerged that maybe the Uber employees who are contracted to deal with these things, maybe it's not that they don't care, but apparently they are just so overworked, they are exhausted themselves. According to Forbes, the news reporting suggests that members of Uber Special Investigations Unit, SIU, let's close that, who handle everything from threats to assaults, have been subject to considerable overwork and emotional trauma on the job. This is only the first paragraph. It's not even a full paragraph, and already you look at that thing that's like, uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. CNN reported this week that a high-level May 2018 Uber memo described working conditions at the SIU whereby its then team of 60 investigators and 15 team leaders were expected to handle over 1,000 of riders and drivers' toughest cases per week. Wow. No, this is already a disaster of epic proportions. And again, we're only halfway through the second paragraph. This is going to be oh my goodness. Including serious accidents, hate speech, and rape, such that the author warned they posed serious mental health risks. Okay, as someone who has suffered from mental health issues before, whether it be from Uber, the YouTube community, it can be stressful doing YouTube sometimes, or just, I have a chemical brain imbalance and sometimes I need to be on medications. Mental health is something that is not to be trifled with. It is seriously damaging. It is seriously harmful. And if this is the situation that it is now, then Uber needs to do something about it right now, because they cannot be putting people in that position. Journalists Sarah Ashley O'Brien, Nellie Black, and Drew Griffin reported for CNN that the memo, prepared by an outside risk management consultant and reportedly seen by a few top Uber execs, spoke explicitly about the adverse effect of investigators' work on their mental health, a subject that has most been reported on related to Uber drivers and their peers. According to CNN, the memo said that SIU staff had sought clinical care for mental health-related issues to stress, trauma, or depression, and pointed out, quote, a single suicide by an Uber investigator who posts that they could not take the job demands any longer will be fodder for the national, if not the international news media. And by the way, I totally suspect that's coming. And I'm not saying that just because I dislike Uber, but remember, I don't know if anyone remembers this last year, because there's been so many reports that I have done. Like, this is why Uber just stresses me out sometimes, and why you start seeing me do things on like Spotify and everything and other apps. Because I even remember reporting on a story about a year and a half ago, I think it was, where an Uber engineer who worked there actually killed himself because the job was just so stressful and he didn't know what else to do. I mean, I think he made pretty good money, but the job requirements were, they got to him and they were a drain on his mental health, and he felt like he couldn't leave because he needed to provide for his family. And here's one of the things. When you start having mental health problems, then sometimes, I hate to say this because I've been there a few times, you think that taking your own life is the answer, which it is not. And if you ever are feeling that way, I strongly recommend you reach out for help. There's plenty of organizations out there, suicide hotlines. Heck, just reach out to anyone who will listen and get the help you need. But your job should not be contributing to these problems. And if Uber's SIU, if they are working their employees so much that they're having mental breakdowns, then that's a serious problem. That is being extremely, extremely irresponsible, and they need to stop. They just need to stop. They need to fix this. They need to hire more people. Something, for God's sakes, the company's worth $120 billion. You can have more than 60 people there to report on over 1,000 cases. Get 400 people. Get 400 people. Like, something like that. Anyway, for almost a year, CNN sought to ramp up the pressure on Uber to release its data on sexual assaults as well as other crimes and concerns that are linked to the platform. Over the past 2 years, Uber has also sought to publicly clean up its act on several fronts, from offering to change its digital tracking habits to making certain marginal improvements for the I love how they put marginal in there. That great. An Uber spokesperson reportedly told CNN that such mental health issues aren't uncommon with fast-paced, crisis-related jobs involving What? And that the company remains very focused on ways to support its safety response agents, including helping them cope with the stress and challenges of this important job and ensuring that it has the right people with the necessary skills to manage these sensitive, serious issues. Okay. Here's the problem with that response. The fact that they, it's not uncommon. It's like, that's not an excuse. I mean, yeah, you obviously need, how is it? You need safety response agents that help them cope with the stress and challenges of the important job. That is true. And you need to ensure that they have the right people with the necessary set of skills to manage these sensitive issues. Yes, you do need that. But you also need more of them. You need way more of them. Because here's the thing. If the people you hire who have those skills are having mental problems themselves, that means the job is simply way too overwhelming. And here's the interesting thing about this article so far. The very, very interesting thing. One of the top priorities Uber said is, we are going to do better. We are going to improve our platform. We are going to make sure things like this are taken seriously. And yet it doesn't look like they're taking it seriously. They have an overwhelming problem here. There are so many people calling in and they are complaining about, problems with riders and drivers, or sometimes both. And yeah, you're going to get those calls, but they don't have the people there to handle the volume, and that is having an adverse effect on their health. And when their health is affected, they are not able to properly deal with these problems in a way that makes it seem like Uber cares. Geez, no wonder no one can get a good response from Uber. Let's continue. Uber's head of safety communications, Brooke Anderson, emphasized by phone that the company has made numerous changes to its SIU. A unit first established in the summer of 2017. Well, okay, that's a fairly new unit then. That might be important. Since both before and after the memo came out last spring. I think they're talking about the memo came out last year. Okay, that's also interesting. Among others, these steps include offering on-site counseling, group therapy, and bi-weekly dog therapy to investigators. I've got personal feelings about dog therapy. I actually think it's kind of dangerous that we have support animals now, like emotional support animals. But you know what? The fact that they're offering the counseling and the group therapy, okay, that's a start. Anderson also commented in his statement, the number reported by CNN is not an accurate reflection of serious safety incidents that occur on the Uber platform because it includes reports that, following investigation, are found to be unrelated to Uber, withdrawn, and or fraudulent. I believe that. I actually completely believe that. I'm going to actually take Uber's word on that one because you know what? How many times have we also reported on fraudulent claims? Like, I've probably done at least a few dozen videos on people who have reported fraudulent claims. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that I picked up, one of the sayings I should say, is never underestimate people's determination to be cheap. So yeah, I'm actually going to agree with him on that one. That might be a thing. In addition, Anderson said that a full-fledged transparency report from Uber is due out later this year, no date yet, which may help allay any confusion about the numbers. Yes, I hope they do release that. According to CNN, the memo stated that the SIU team manages nearly 1,200 cases per week and noted, although some reports shared with the SIU are frivolous and later found to have no merit or constitute fraud, we were told that most of these cases reported have some basis of substantiation. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying they're all bad. That's the thing. I believe there are a fair amount of them that you should be taking seriously. In the case of violence towards women, the number of instances that have already come to light, even compared to the total number of rides, which Uber estimates at 2 billion over the last 2 years, is cause enough for alarm. As Victoria Song reflected for Gizmodo last November with many useful links, quote, it's a ritual among women. Call an Uber or Lyft or another rideshare app. Oh, it's cute. She thinks there's another rideshare app. Get home and immediately text your besties to let them know you're not dead in a ditch somewhere. That's due in large part to the numerous horror stories you see in the news where women who are sexually harassed or worse while taking a car home. Seriously, so many stories, many of which we have actually reported on this very channel. So, yeah, this is bad, and I fully look forward to when Uber releases that report, and we will be following up on this. But if they haven't issued that report, Uber, here's the thing: take this article seriously. You wanted to change for the better. You know, I've come to accept that you're not going to raise the rates. I think you should because, you know, you're jerks for not doing it, but I've kind of come to accept it. But you know what? You have said that safety is your number one priority. It doesn't seem like in this article, safety is a very big issue for you. The fact that you are letting these people be overworked and exhausted and breaking down mentally. I mean, those people are not probably even effective at their job anymore. If that's how they're living life. So you know what? You need to hire more people to solve this. And if you're getting too many reports, maybe you should be doing some background checks. Maybe you should be fingerprinting people. Maybe you should be doing something to try to stem the amount of bad drivers you are picking up. And when there's a bad report against a passenger, because I know passengers are not suspended for doing bad things unless it's seriously an egregious part. You should be suspending people for doing things like this, like, you know, making the women drivers feel uncomfortable and everything. You should be doing something, Uber. And you said you were going to do better, and yet here we are. This is a report. It came out just a couple days ago. Probably by the time this video goes up, it'll be a few days ago. And that's not good. That is not good. You need to do better, Uber. Of course, I kind of think you need to do better most of the time, but that's kind of besides the point. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. What do all of you folks think? Do you agree with this? Do you disagree? Have any of you had horror stories with working for Uber? Heck, if you work for this crime unit on Uber, what's it like? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even those $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And you get access to my exclusive Patrons only blog. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.